Let me ask Mike a very simple question. Do you personally believe it is fair for transgender women to compete in women's sport? Yes or no?
I don't care. Same thing I've told you before. I simply don't care.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to react to a debate on Piers Morgan. They were debating trans athletes, and I believe one member of the panel decided to admit that he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about women and girls being forced to compete against men and boys. I guess it's not something that is at the top of his priorities. So the main exchange in this part is between Piers and Mike Nellis. Mike Nellis is a Democratic strategist and the host of Endless Urgency. So I guess he's saying he doesn't care because it's a losing battle for the Democratic Party. They've lost support over this. So maybe he's just coping.
Let me ask Mike a very simple question. Do you personally believe it is fair for transgender women to compete in women's sport? Yes or no?
I don't care. Same thing I've told you before. I simply don't care, and I want communities to figure it out. And what I care more about is like kids.
Do you not care about slavery?
Let me answer the goddamn question before you guys jump in.
Do you not care about slavery either?
So, you know, I appreciate Piers's stance on this. He's been consistent from, you know, very early on. However, I think we need to move away from the term trans women, especially when we're debating this sort of topic, because it creates a falsehood. We're not talking about a type of woman, we're talking about men. And I think it's easier to just keep it simple. And it does get people to confront what they're actually advocating for or saying that they don't care about. So just to be clear, Neil is saying that he doesn't care about men competing in women's sports. He doesn't care about boys competing against girls, leaving women and girls with no option, you know, but to compete in these conditions when there's a male athlete in their category. It's either compete or go home. And that's not much of a choice. So it's essentially coercing women and girls to compete against boys and men, to compete under these conditions. Then on top of that, he's saying that he doesn't care about men and boys being in the locker rooms with female athletes. He doesn't care about that. I wonder why he doesn't care. Because most decent people, even if it doesn't affect them, they can still say that it's wrong.
I mean, slavery is not the same thing as transgender athletes. You look like a dipshit when you say stuff like that.
Okay, but you're acting like a coward. You're acting like a coward.
I'm not acting like a coward. I'm telling you, I don't care about.
Do you have a daughter? Do you have a daughter?
No, I have a 7-year-old son, and I have a niece. Yeah, okay.
Okay, do you want your niece
I don't need a daughter to have an opinion on the issue.
Wait a second. Do you want your niece competing against my son? My son will dominate your niece. Do you want that? Yes or no?
I don't care.
Yes or no?
Care.
Either he genuinely doesn't care because he's some sort of psychopath, or it's just a coping strategy because it's a losing battle for the Democratic Party. Most of your constituents don't want this. They don't want male athletes competing against women and girls. Most people believe it is absolutely ridiculous to allow it in the first place. And the reality is, most of us take it for granted that sports has categories. We're watching our favourite sporting events, we don't see the categories blurred. If we're watching boxing, we don't want to see a heavyweight boxer up against a featherweight. That doesn't make any sense. And this is simply what we're talking about here. People being able to bypass the categories that are needed in sports because of gender identity. You saying you don't care doesn't portray you in a good light whatsoever. It's saying that you're turning a blind eye to abuse. These people don't like to admit exactly what they're saying. They'll say one thing and deny the meaning of what they're saying, deny the reality of what they're advocating for.
You don't care?
You don't care.
Why don't you care, Mike?
Why don't you care?
Why don't you care out of interest?
No, you're a coward.
Because here's what I care about, because I care about whether or not kids are safe. I care about whether
Okay, so spare me the nonsense.
Because I care about whether or not kids are safe.
He still wants to virtue signal. I care about whether kids are safe. What do you think we're discussing here? Is it safe for a featherweight boxer to go up against a heavyweight? No. That's why they have their own categories. In the same way, it isn't safe for women to get into the ring with male athletes. And that just happened in 2024. So we're not talking about something that just never happens and it's just all hypothetical. We've seen it with our own eyes. despite the disinformation that people are still spreading. So don't now try and start talking about how you care about safety. That doesn't make any sense. Don't say you don't care, but then say you care. But just word it differently. That's very disingenuous indeed.
Hey, let me ask Mike a question. Mike, another simple question. Mike, did you care when athletes were caught cheating with drugs that gave them performance enhancement? Did you care about that?
Like in the Olympics? Like, yeah, sure.
No? Yeah,
like in the Olympics.
You did care. Okay.
Yeah,
so you
sure.
do care.
Like Barry Bonds?
So just to be clear,
that's professional athletics.
You do.
How the heck is that different? How is that different? We're talking about sports. Cheating is cheating. Whether it's at a high school level, whether it's professional sports. So you only care about professional sports. They try so many different strategies, these people. First they say, oh, it's only high school sports, who cares? Okay, we'll tell that to the young girls who have been put in this situation. Tell that to the young girls who have been exposed to male genitalia in their showers. It doesn't have to be something that affects you, but you can say that it is wrong.
That's professional athletics. That's different.
We all know that cheating destroys sports. It destroys history. It destroys records. It destroys the integrity of sports. Many of us are still trying to get over the fact that some of our favourite athletes were on performance-enhancing drugs. Athletes in track and field, for example, back in the 90s, a lot of them were taking stuff. Fast forward 20 years, you're like, oh my goodness, my favourite athlete was a cheat. So yeah, I'm sure he does care. But now he's pretending that he doesn't care about male athletes competing against women, as if that's not cheating. So cheating at a high school level is perfectly fine. Where does it stop then? So he's fine with female athletes having their careers derailed before they've even begun. The future of sports, he's okay with that being derailed.
Oh, hang on. So you do care when athletes have an unfair advantage. You care.
Here's the thing, Piers. Yeah, sure. But I want to point this out. You opened this segment by talking about how Republicans are going to go back to the well to talk about
Mike,
the same stuff.
you either care or you don't about unfair advantage.
Another one of those.
He said yes, sure. He's admitted that. But now he's going to try and skate around it. Because these people are not genuine when you're discussing these matters with them. They're not. They'll just try and get around the topic using mental gymnastics, word salad. And this is a guy who advises a Democratic Party. Good luck with that.
Those things that they do where it becomes a culture war issue that they can distract because they don't want to talk about the economy being a mess.
It's a very simple question.
They want to talk about this culture war trivia shit that divides people instead of things that actually have an impact on people's lives.
Okay, so he's one of those. This is a breast cancer charity. What about prostate cancer? What about HIV? He's one of those. More than one thing can be true at the same time. This is nothing but deflection. And even him saying he doesn't care was a deflection tactic as well. Very dismissive. But now you're being exposed for how disingenuous you were being.
Answer the question.
The truth is, Mike, hang on. The truth. Wait a minute, please. The truth is, Mike, what you've revealed is, I'm afraid, total hypocrisy. You care about an unfair advantage in the Olympics or Barry Bonds or whoever it may be, Lance Armstrong. You care about that unfair advantage, but you don't care when a biological male who has indisputable physical advantages over a biological female is allowed to compete in women's sport.
It's incredibly different when we're talking about Major League Baseball. We're talking about intramural volleyball for like teenage girls.
It's the same principle.
It's not the same thing.
Absolute nonsense. And how dismissive, towards those young girls who are dealing with this nonsense as we speak. As the seasons start again, track and field, soccer, there's girls going into high school who know they're going to be competing against male athletes. Male athletes who were competing with the boys last season. This has been happening for the longest time. Leah Thomas took an NCAA title away from Olympic athletes, girls who had competed in the Olympics. So if he thinks this isn't going to affect the future of sports on a professional level, if it's allowed to continue, he's fooling nobody but himself.
Same principle.
No.
This is not the most important issue in the country. You guys bring it up every single time I come on.
No, but you only care. But you only care when it's drugs. You don't care when it's the trans issue, because you dare not speak your mind about that, because you know it's unfair, because you don't believe in unfair advantage.
Yeah, so it is cowardice. I agree, it is cowardice. I can't believe people are still willing to die on this hill. It's unbelievable. Even Democrats who have spoken out against men competing in women's sports have backtracked. Or when it came to voting for bills that was actually going to do anything about it, they bailed out and voted against such bills. So when it comes down to it, yeah, it's cowardice. But this guy's even afraid to say it. He's afraid to say that it's cheating. They will say whatever needs to be said, even if it makes them look ridiculous. They're willing to look ridiculous in order to shill. But this really is a right or wrong issue. And it's a very simple issue. It's not complicated like they tried to make out. Cheating is wrong. We should all be able to agree on that. Cheating in sports, you know, there should be no place for that. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video. And a huge thanks to all of those who have hyped my videos. It is greatly appreciated.